Hey everybody, we're live, alright. Well, not live on Support Adventure YouTube, but yeah, my name is Eric, I'm from Support Adventure, and this is Britnee from Remote Collective.
Remote Collective, what up, what up, what up?
And we're sitting here in Chiang Mai, Thailand today, and we are at Britnee's Remote Collective co-working day. You might see some
Pop-up co-working day, people in the background.
people in the background working, sitting very nicely in a very sunny, relaxed and tranquil space, doing their thing.
Yes, and Eric and I were talking about some stuff just now about like do's and don'ts of working remotely and managing a remote team, and I said, yo, we need to put this on the YouTube.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we're united by the desire to make this type of lifestyle possible for as many people as possible and spread the sort of gospel of the idea of you can come to a place like Thailand and get your work done in a way that might even be more efficient than if you were in the office in, you know, wherever your company's based. And we're both sort of evangelists of this idea of convincing companies to give this a shot and convincing companies to actually embrace this sort of culture and helping them manage their business and communication and procedures and culture so that this can actually be achieved.
That's the thing is, I really think that remote work is the future. Like we were saying, it is going to become a norm. It's just more of like, are we going to prepare for it well? Are we going to just throw people into the deep end of remote work and not prepare for it? So you had a bunch of tips. What were the things that you said that, especially with communication, that teams have a problem with? Can we talk about
Well, if you have people sitting in the office together, they tend to talk to each other in a very informal way. And then the first impulse of companies that want to go remote, that they will have a sort of chat set up in Microsoft Teams or Slack, which would emulate this sort of office environment where people can send each other messages, where there can be sort of like announcements made in different channels or rooms and group sort of basis. And we found that this is, both methods are inefficient, and that having a chat where everybody's writing messages when they're writing messages all the time, that can actually provide a function, but it's a very inefficient method of communication because it leads to a sort of notification fatigue. So if say you're coding or writing some copy or you know, just getting work done in a focused way, and there's constant chat messages popping up, and there's constant chat messages that are distracting you from actually doing what your job is to do. And also there's the idea of ownership of tasks. Like if you're asking a colleague for help for something, like you message them on Microsoft Teams, for example, and it pops up on their screen, and who then has ownership of that issue? Who then, is it your responsibility to keep on writing to them until you get an answer? Is it their responsibility to get back to you? And if they're getting 1,000 messages a day, how are they supposed to make yours the one that sort of gets answered? And maybe they're getting so many notifications they just tune it out or put themselves on Do Not Disturb and they won't even see your chat. So we try to get as much as possible into email rather than chat, and we try to get as much as possible into scheduled calls, like scheduled weekly calls, and handing over in a way that doesn't have a sense of urgency.
Have you heard of async communication?
No, what's that?
Okay, so that's what I was trying to, he was like, how do you deal with communication? Async means, synchronous means everyone's online all the time, you have the active button. Async is like, you send something out, the person has an expectation to get back to you within a week.
Right.
But then they can reply to it on their times, like within their time zone during their day.
So
there's an expectation, but it's like not.
There's an expectation, meaning ownership of the issue.
Ownership, but there's not an expectation that you have to respond immediately or even in that day.
So that's what in a lot of tech companies they would use a ticketing system or a project management solution for that sort of thing, and it's a very good thing because it's clear that it's being assigned to them. It's clear that they're not expected to reply right away, but it's clear that it should remain on their list of priorities, and sort of they should eventually get back to you on that. And
but you were saying something about almost having, I called it a project manager, but you said something, what was the thing you said?
In the tech support world, we call this a dispatcher.
A dispatcher
so this would be
for
the
remote work projects, or people working remotely.
Yeah, or a coordinator. Anybody who's got the central role of handing over work to people and making sure that they can do that work, and if they can't do that work, making sure that the right person with the right skill set to aid them is booked in and scheduled and assigned to that task, and that there's a certain amount of ownership on all tasks that are assigned, and that everything's moving along, that people are keeping the correct documentation of what they're essentially meant to be doing, so that if you keep good documentation of what you're doing and your manager wants to check in on what you're doing, they don't have to talk to you.
Yeah.
They don't have to interrupt you, they don't have to book anything, and they can see the progress on the product. But a lot of the time in smaller work environments, you tend to see that the documentation is not that great that the people are keeping.
Or non-existent.
Yeah, and then that means when a manager wants to see what you're doing, they'll actually have to talk to you, and then you might be somehow feel like you're being accused of not getting work done, or that you're being micromanaged and stuff. But so we like to make note-taking protocols, and the coordinator would make sure that all those notes are correct, so that the management then comes in and they can see what's being done remotely, and they can see what the next steps on all of the projects are. They can see what needs to be escalated to their level, and they can see what good work is being done, and how many issues are being handled without them intervening.
So do you have anything else to let the people know what they should be doing with remote work? I mean, we know it's
the main thing that I also need to say is that a lot of the time we get at Support Adventure, we get job applications from people who join the call and they don't have a good audio. I'm not sure that the audio on this video is that great, because we haven't done great microphones here, but I think you can hear us. But if you want to be working remotely, get a good USB headset, because the USB headset plugs into your laptop and it has the sound card built into the USB device, and you never have to fiddle with the volume. It's always a microphone that's right in front of your mouth, and a lot of people have these like smartphone headsets where the flimsy little microphone dangles, and they don't always lead to the best results. And so if you want to be taken seriously in remote, make sure that you have a good lighting. Yeah, good lighting as well. Good lighting and good audio, so you can present yourself the best, and then you'll have a leg up on a lot of people in remote job interviews for sure.
What happens if someone doesn't have that? How does it make you perceive them?
Well, it can. Well, first of all, it's harder to watch the interview. It's harder to consider them. They might be super talented, but if the audio quality is not there, or the internet quality is another thing. Definitely every remote worker should have a smartphone that can do tethering to their laptop and portable Wi-Fi hotspots, so if their home internet goes out, the downtime is about 30 seconds rather than the amount of time it takes for them to walk around and find a cafe that has Wi-Fi or something like that. So yeah, definitely video quality, audio quality, internet quality, and backup internet quality are the things that you need to get as a baseline for remote work. Those should be the absolute minimums, that you have a good microphone, headset, good camera, good place to take calls from that's quiet as well. We often get people who are sitting in cafes and you're hearing like tuk-tuks go by, and you're hearing people, glasses clinking in the background. No, folks. I mean, a lot of this can be filtered out by a good noise cancelling headset and microphone, but just get that part of it together before you even start interviewing for remote positions, because it will affect our perception. If we're the hiring managers in the remote working company, it will affect our sort of perception of your togetherness, your ability to provide good work remotely if those basics are not in place. So we have pretty good policies at Support Adventure for that, and yeah.
So I'm going to let you give a plug. Can you tell everyone about your company and what you guys do?
Yeah, sure. Support Adventure is the expat outsourcing company. So basically it started when I was living in the UK. I grew up in Canada. I moved to the UK, was living there, wasn't really digging London. It's a little overcrowded, weather's not great, it's expensive, so on and so forth. I didn't like going to the office every day, so I quit my job, moved to Belgrade, Serbia, where I found a lot more space and warmth and weather and people and good food, just a good lifestyle I could carve out. What I needed to do after that was find a job. So I emailed lots of companies in London and found one. Since I'm in IT support, they were very open-minded because they know the technology that makes it possible and how workable it would be. And so I found that in 2013, and from there people got sort of envious of the fact that I was able to work online in that way. So I created Support Adventure as a sort of agency or staffing outsourcing company that helps people find those sorts of positions. We focus on full-time positions that will give you a decent standard of living in a place like Chiang, Thailand, in Belgrade, Serbia, in Colombia, or any place that's in that sort of range. And and we convince companies to give it a try to hire someone remotely based on the cost savings versus hiring an employee locally. We focus on full-time contracts, not freelancers, because we find that we get better loyalty and better results from giving someone enough money to live and giving them at least 20 hours a week of work, if not a full-time schedule. And yeah, we've got 35 people on board worldwide, Southeast Asia, Latin America, Eastern Europe right now, and we're growing this. We're mostly in the tech support industry, and just check out our website at supportadventure.com for more info.
I'll put the link into this video that I'm going to post up. And also, just, is it kind of like IT Crowd?
Well, I've never watched that, but it's kind of like a more, probably a cross between that and a hostel. With dudes sitting there, yeah.
Wait, hold on, is it only guys?
No, it's not only guys, but there's definitely a dude vibe amongst the guys, and no, it's not only guys. We don't discriminate.
Girls can apply for this.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we also have, if you're not already an IT support specialist, we have training programs that could help you get there if you have the natural ability to figure things out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Eric.
All right, thanks a lot.
I love our random chats of like, wait, we should just film this because...
Yeah, why not?
We want to share it with all of you. Get out here and hang out with us in these amazing countries, you guys.
Yeah, so. I mean, if you're sitting in your country, your home country right now, and you want to get out there, I mean, lots more companies are becoming open-minded to this remote working idea. If you can prove you can deliver the goods and services that they need, the human resource is you, and you should get them to see the benefit of having you go free range rather than being cooped up in an office all day.
Free range, love it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Britnee Bond from Remote Collective, Eric Mook from
Support Adventure.
Support Adventure.
Thanks a lot.
We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Nice catching up with you.
Yeah, you too.